Hey there, everyone. Today I have the Nodus Retrospect 3, and I was just about to start off this review with saying how the Retrospect was the first watch I reviewed from the California brand, but that wasn't it. As a matter of fact, that was the Trieste, or the Trieste. I believe that's an Italian name, but either way, I can't remember how to pronounce these things. But I have never reviewed a Retrospect, but I've done a little digging, done some research on the past versions of it, and this is a newer size at 42 millimeters. And this is now the latest iteration of it with the NodeX Clasp system, which of course we're going to discuss in this review, as well as all the pros and cons of this sub $500 micro brand vintage style diver. Let's get to it. On screen, you're going to see all the specifications, and as I said, this is the largest version of the Retrospect, now in 42 millimeters, but the Retrospect 3 actually came out last year in 2021, but now it's been refreshed again, and they added some new colors and that NodeX Clasp system. Now, also, I have to apologize right out of the gate and say this watch is currently sold out. Again, I am sorry. And that just comes down to when the watch was received and a few problems, which I'll discuss in this video. So, yes, the first issue I had was waiting for the watch to get to me. No biggie, it took a bit, it happens. Now, the second one was the clasp was broken. Yes, this new clasp system, meant to be slim and easy to use, was broken upon arrival. Again, this happens. Now, it wouldn't open up when I got it. I was pressing the internal button. I had to wait another 2 weeks until I was sent another one to me. And with other watches in hand I needed to work on, I couldn't get to the review until now. I hate reviewing watches that aren't available, but hopefully they will have more of these in the new year. But let's talk about this watch. There's a lot of good here, but there are a few things I think could have been executed better. But this is a $475 watch here, so take that for what it is. The first thing is the case size has been bumped up from 40 to 42 millimeters. And in a world where most micro brands are doing 40 millimeter and under watches, many doing 39 millimeters lately, seeing a brand choose to go to 42 millimeters is refreshing, at least for me. Now, for some, this is going to be disappointing, but I know there's still a segment of watch buyers out there who have not hopped on the smaller is better train. The case is well finished. It's a nice mix of horizontal brushing sandwiched between two thin polished chamfers. The crown is all high polished and it screws down nice and tight, and I haven't experienced any issues with it. The lugs are drilled for easy bracelet or strap removal, and those who feel that 42 millimeters might be too large will be happy to know that the lug to lug is only 48 millimeters, which is generally short for a 42 millimeter watch. The case back is as simple as it gets, kind of reminds me of a marathon in that way. And you know what? This is intended to be a basic utilitarian diver style watch, so they didn't go crazy with the case back. And like many micro brands at this price, beating underneath is a Seiko NH35, which, you know what, I really don't have a problem with at this price. The dial is ultra sunburst. This is a gray color, and it's a beautiful sunburst, no doubt about it. But I do feel that the logo and model name can almost get lost in it with it being white. The date complication at 6 is a nice touch, and these are sandwich markers. They kind of look like shark teeth, and it is a very clean dial overall. But I think my biggest 2 points of contention, well, maybe 3 actually, is going to be the bezel insert, the bracelet, and that NodeX clasp. Now, let me start with the bezel insert, which is steel with a matte DLC coating. Now, it basically looks gray, and that does match the dial very well, but when you get up close, it just doesn't look very good. It seems to attract a lot of dust and marks and fingerprints, and I personally feel a matte aluminum insert would have looked better, but that is only my opinion. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments. The bezel itself is actually very nice. It's easy to grip at any angle. It ratchets smoothly. It has a really good feel. This is I'm going to say it wrong right now because I actually don't have it written down, but I think it's a finger pressure system. That's not the right thing, and don't get any weird ideas. You can look it up on their website. I'll have the correct terminology for it in the written review on watchreport.com. But as I said, it is an easy to grip bezel, and I like the look of how the bezel area is concave, which, as Nodus says, can protect the bezel insert from damage. But I also think it gives the watch some extra added dimension, and it helps it stand out a little bit from other diver style watches in this price range. On to the bracelet, and there's really nothing wrong with it. But the original Retrospect, and I believe the second version as well, had an H-link bracelet. This time around, they opted for a pretty standard looking 3-link oyster style. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not the cheapo oyster bracelet some brands use. It has nice and tight links that are close together. It articulates well, it feels good on the wrist, and it uses screws to hold it together, so easy sizing. I just think I prefer the H-link better. Then there is this clasp. And I remember on social media seeing all the posts about this. And to be honest, I looked at it briefly, but then, I'm looking at a lot of watches all the time, and I didn't look at it too closely. But I do remember them hyping it up a lot. And when I got this watch in person, well, after I got the replacement, I remember thinking, this is it? And maybe it's just me, but I just don't get it. Yes, it does keep the clasp itself slim, it's easy to deploy, but I think the execution leaves something to be desired. It's a very thin piece of metal that comes out, it kind of moves to the side, like you can move it side to side, and it just doesn't look very good when it's all open, when it's all extended. And if you couple that with the integrated buttons on the clasp itself, which kind of reminds me of cheaper fashion watches from the 90s, and the entire clasp is just a big miss for me. Functionality is fine, no issues whatsoever. I just don't care for how it looks. Now, this is also a proprietary system and can be licensed out to other manufacturers, apparently. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone else adopts the system in their future watches. And also, I just want to add that, of course, I did not think it was going to compete with a $2,000 Manta or Titoni watch and their really exquisite extension systems. And this is way less clunky than the standard ones we have seen on so many microbrand divers over the years. I just don't think that the final product lived up to the hype, and maybe I also just expect too much. Now, on my 7.5 or 19.05 centimeter wrist, it does fit nicely, and you can see the bracelet is decently large. 3 links out would be needed to fit my wrist, and of course you do get the benefit of that extension to help with the fine sizing. This is a well-balanced watch, and at 175 grams, it's not overly heavy either. And one thing I forgot to mention, this bracelet has quick-release pins, which I guess is a little odd for a watch with drilled lugs, but if you prefer this watch on a strap, I guess it's nice to have them there. And lastly, we get to the lume, and as you can see on the screen, this is C3X1 lume, and those sandwich markers and medium-sized hands, the lume is really strong here. And if you're someone who loves lume, this one is going to probably be in the win column for you. So, like I said, this is a $475 watch, and the look is there for sure. You get a few color options to choose from, and it does offer a lot for the price. Now, things like the matte bezel or me preferring the H-link over the standard 3-link bracelet, those things are really subjective, but I do think many will agree that the NodeX could use some more refinement. All that said, if you like the look, well, head over to the wait, this is sold out. Well, there is a button to click to notify when available, so if you do like it, head over there to do that, and if you don't, well, don't do that then. Also, you could probably search the groups and forums for a pre-owned one if you're someone that can't wait. Anyways, that's all for this one. Subscribe, like, comment. These really help out the channel, and it tells the algorithm you want to see more from Watch Report. If you don't want to miss any of our videos, hit the bell to turn on notifications. You can find us, of course, on social media as well, and of course, watchreport.com. This is Don Evans from Watch Report. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.